Good day, I'm Askar Sheraliyev and you're watching the news from Kazakhstan. Political meeting between Dmitry Medvedev and Nursultan Nazarbayev in Ust-Kamenogorsk will start with discussion of the public utilities problems. After a series of meetings with local population, the members of the EU Parliament are resuming their visit to Kazakhstan. Single protest behind the bars, the Arman movement leader Yermek Narembayev continues hunger striking for already 17th day. The 7th Russia-Kazakhstan Regional Cooperation Forum took start in Ust-Kamenogorsk yesterday. The main part of the event, a meeting of Dmitry Medvedev with Nursultan Nazarbayev, will be held today. However, yesterday the political event started with the exhibition addressing the problems of public utilities of both countries. The participants suggested to change the plumbing systems of Russian businessmen showcased the latest technologies for cleaning the old utility systems called a hydroshock. Next report has more.
The last preparations before the opening of the Regional Cooperation Forum in Ust-Kamenogorsk are underway. One of the city high-rise buildings featured a sign that read Russia. The city never had so many police officers on duty at once. They are closely controlling the highway which the presidential corteges will go through. Nursultan Nazarbayev has already arrived in the city, and total 800 delegates came to Ust-Kamenogorsk, including people from business circles of both Russia and Kazakhstan. As there are jets with modified wings and we have got so-called fitting with modified geometry which allows to change the angle, I can make any angle and weld it off. This is our last invention, patented in October last year. The official event starts with the business forum devoted to the housing and utilities problems topical for both Russia and Kazakhstan, although it seems not so visible background for such political event. The tent expo area featured an exhibition of the latest technologies. Russian businessmen have demonstrated the new product, the so-called hydroshock. We have developed such method which allows to shoot the air into the pipes and thus to clear it off from the dirt. This is especially useful in places which have heating system, cold and hot water supply. Hydroshock seems quite demanded here too. The attempts to wash off the both plumbing and political systems of two countries, as the forum had started with addressing the utilities, which is indeed problematic industry. Russian businessmen indeed hope that their new invention will find application in everyday life. This exhibition is very topical for both Russia and Kazakhstan. Innovative technologies in the utility system are very important for citizens of both countries. Banners featuring Medvedev and Nazarbayev along with flags of Russia and Kazakhstan filming the city from the air are some of the details of the big event organization. According to the protocol, Nursultan Nazarbayev and Dmitry Medvedev will tour the exhibition hall and then hold talks on Tuesday.
Situation over the Kazakh assets of the Russian Polius Gold Company may become one of the subjects of talks between Nazarbayev and Medvedev, as the problem slightly turned from financial into political lately. The management of the Russian Polius Gold Company had addressed a letter to the President Nazarbayev yesterday calling for his assistance. It stated that the tax inspections are nothing but Kazakh authorities' response to the company's recent lawsuit against Kazakhaltyn's previous owners, the Asaubayev family.
It's yet early to conclude the tax inspections over the Kazakhaltyn. However, the Polish Zolota decided not to wait and respond to the situation by publishing an open letter to President Nazarbayev. The situation over the Polish gold had obtained a political character. The company had initiated a lawsuit against the ex-owners of the Kazakhaltyn in the High Court bench of London, claiming that it had overpaid $450 million when buying the public company, the bonds of which are traded at the London Stock Exchange. The Polish Zolota representatives relied on the audit work data, thus learning a great lesson for the future. This is for sure a precedential case, because none of the Russian metallurgy companies which bought either Kazakh or any other foreign assets have not yet faced such fraud of reports, unrealistic figures and production indicators. A trial against the Asaubayev family in the High Court bench of London from one hand and the criminal case against the Polish Zolota company from another. Not only the fate of $450 million, but the volume of future investments will depend from the outcome of the confrontations.
The EU Parliament delegation's tour around Kazakhstan is over. The delegation members were spread out to the various parts of the country in order to observe the human rights and freedom situation in the country chairing the OSCE. According to Robert Jones, it is enough to consider the facts of penitentiary systems officers' treatment of journalists, to understand that it was a mistake for OSCE to grant Kazakhstan the chairmanship status. Next report has details.
Вы руки уберите, вы не имеете права.
Я вам сказал, уберите камеру.
Вы не имеете права распускать руки.
Вы опять позволяете?
Я руки не позволяю.
То, что вы с нами дрались с утра.
Penitentiary authorities weren't hesitant to show off their attitude to the independent media by literally pushing out the Stand TV crew out of the building. Amongst others, the situation was witnessed by the EU Parliament delegation member Robert Jones, who evaluated the action of the authorities as non-complying with the OSCE chairing country's standards. Somehow, people representing Western organizations such as the OSCE that don't understand or simply close their eyes on the fact that all what they see is nothing but a show. They don't seem to care about it as long as they can buy oil and gas contracts. Robert Jones came to Penitentiary Systems Committee office along with some relatives of the Granitny colony inmates. A few weeks ago, the prison was hit by the waves of revolts, and now many convicts are charged with its organization. Arman Jumangeldiyev, known by nickname Savage, is one of them. He is also known for organizing attacks on the democratic communities of Shymkent back in 2005. 3 years later, Arman was arrested for illegal keeping of drugs and weapons. I have arrived as I got an information that it's planned to change Arman's sentence and transfer him to another prison where he will be killed and his death will be posed as a suicide. Along with Arman Jumangeldiyev, a number of inmates are charged with revolt organization. I witnessed such lawlessness for the first time and I am really shocked. You know, I was actually proud that I lived in Kazakhstan before, thinking we live in a normal society, but now, after seeing such lawlessness, I'm sure it doesn't deserve to chair the OSCE. They referred to Robert Jones for help, and the latter had promised that he will send out all to the OSCE member states detailed report inquiring to deprive Kazakhstan of the OSCE chair status as soon as he returns to Strasbourg.
The 4th National Convention of the Kazakhstan 2012 movement was held in Almaty last weekend. The organization, which unites activists struggling for the social and civil rights of citizens, had adopted a unique resolution. According to it, a series of protest campaigns will be launched in Kazakhstan this autumn. Next report has details.
The campaign against the mass exemptions of non-payers' properties by the banks is anticipated in Kazakhstan. Such resolution was adopted during the conference of the Kazakhstan 2012 movement held in Almaty recently. It also expresses solidarity with the miners and metallurgists and are against the repressive actions towards the labor movements and leaders of the independent trade unions. Also, the movement members demand in the resolution to release the political prisoners such as Aron Atabek, a participant of the Shanrak events. It's useless to talk about it until we start feeling ourselves as citizens, as human beings, and become masters of such rich country. Therefore, we have to consolidate against the system. Every one of us must spread the word to others. Only then we will live in a decent country. Member of the European Parliament Socialist Joe Higgins said he understands the protest moods of the population well. He was unpleasantly surprised when came to evaluate the level of democratic institutions development in Kazakhstan. It's very sad that EU member states close eye on what is going on in Kazakhstan, says Higgins.
Ordinary working people and poor people in Kazakhstan understand the power that they have and mobilize that power. That is how fundamental change will be brought about.
Just beat you with this stick, you bloody swindler. While the human rights activists made a resolution, the authorities keep pressing on the same button. Residents of Bakay micro-district are defending themselves from the inroad of so-called new Bakay residents. The Turkcep district administration had redistributed the land because it had failed to consider the old decrees when allocating them previously. Thus, 70 more people appeared on the waiting list. Interestingly, both confronting groups of people intend to join the autumn protest campaign.
Struggling for human rights and justice through mass protest actions was popular back in the 19th century as well. A new edition of the unique manuscript entitled The Uprising of Kazakhs under the leadership of Kensary Kasymov from 1837 through 1847 was presented in Almaty yesterday. The project was implemented by the Boltakhan Tayjan Foundation along with the descendants of the manuscript author, the scientist Dilmuhamedova. As stated by the presenters, the manuscript features the accurate records of the Khan's marches, thus restoring the true piece of Kazakh history. Kensare Kasimov can be confidently called as one of the earliest strugglers for Kazakh independence, as he had inspired the uprising against the colonist policies of Russia. The only authentic copy of the work was kept by the scientist Dilmuhamedov's family since 1946. Today the scientific research is being reborn, as the book was fully restored, converted into electronic format and published again. Amongst others, this unique material features the map with Khan Kenez marches routes, records of songs dedicated to people's hero. The new edition of the book has been distributed amongst the universities, regional libraries across Kazakhstan, and some copies were sent to the scientific centers of the CIS. The dissertation was defended on December 17, 1946, if you notice the date coinciding with the December uprising in Almaty. This is all about the freedom-loving spirit of Kensare. As 17th December out of 365 days a year, the emancipation movement theme was defended. The Arman movement leader Yermek Narımbayev continues hunger striking behind the cells for already 17th day. Doctors of the pre-trial detention ward where the convict sentenced to 4 years is held assure that Narımbayev's health condition don't raise any concerns. However, convict's wife has doubts about it. Public activist Yermek Narımbayev lost 8 kilograms of weight in the detention facility. The leader of the mortgage committee Arman is refusing to eat for the 18th day. He drinks only water. He is hunger striking against the politically motivated court decision. Yermek's wife Zoya Narımbayeva daily calls to the personnel of the facility. The prison officials claim that the health condition of the detainee is satisfactory. Zoya doubts that. This is why she requested the official inquiry. I asked to send specialists to the ward to put him under the doctor's supervision, and they said that the reply is ready and it is at the reception. Yermek Narımbayev is convicted for the insult of the judge and the fight with the police officers who convoyed him. At the moment he is in the detention facility of Almaty. His wife worries that no one will pay attention to her husband's hunger strike. Send inquiries over the situation and we will make replies. It seems that nobody even knows about this hunger strike in Astana, even though the hunger strike is mentioned by the press service of the State Penitentiary System Committee. We have 60,000 prisoners and all of them are treated equally. You give me a name, but this name doesn't mean anything to me. Do you understand? Zoya Narımbayeva is not going to give up. She is now preparing the status of the human rights defender at the court. With it, she hopes to receive all the materials of the court case and prove the illegality of the verdict.